Writing prompt by JacksonWrites on Reddit. Few people know that a berserker is actually just another type of paladin. They neither know the name of their patron nor what they represent, but they swear upon a singular oath. Never again. How does someone hold anger after death? ALFAGIR held his blade high toward the sky and screamed. Blood poured down the warrior's face, a mixture of his and his enemies. His chest heaved, his breathing stuttered. A gleaming spear jutted out of his side, but ALFAGIR could still fight. The scream of triumph became a scream of pain as the barbarian tore his enemy's weapon out of his side. Blood welled. The three guards still standing in his way faltered. How does someone rage against the end? ALFAGIR's breaths were shallow and shaken. His great sword fell from his hand, clattering to the ground a second after the last guard. Despite being the only one standing, ALFAGIR had donated the most blood to the tile. 2 heavy steps toward the massive oak doors of the throne room. ALFAGIR could hear the reinforcements maneuvering on the other side. How many more were there? How many? ALFAGIR slammed into the tile as bloodlust caught up. In reality, chased down rage. How does someone summon life from fury? ALFAGIR opened his eyes in the dark plain, deep in the belly of a hidden bloodstone temple. Here he was, clean. Here he'd never been cut. Here he was, an embarrassment to his people. It took a moment for ALFAGIR to stand as his rage dripped away from his body, but he found his footing and took deep, greedy breaths of the rancid air. Then a sound. Shifting armor. ALFAGIR closed his eyes and felt the breeze of the old willow grove wash over him. He heard the laughter of his children. He tasted his wife's lips. The armor shifted again. Patience was a curse here, not a virtue. ALFAGIR opened his eyes and stared at the angel in front of him. A fearsome armored thing that stood between him and rest, between him and salvation. It kicked a blade across the floor to ALFAGIR's feet. Pick it up. The voice was hollow, echoing like there was no form inside the armor. ALFAGIR complied. Are you not angry enough, warrior? The angel readied its own blade. Prove it. ALFAGIR's swings were wild and furious, more than enough to topple a man, but nothing against the divine. The angel's blade struck true. How does a man have faith without a reward? ALFAGIR pulled himself off the blood-slicked floor just as the door to the throne room burst open and the reinforcements arrived. He didn't have his blade. He didn't need it. He would use theirs. Splintered shields and shattered spines littered the floor just as ALFAGIR was surrounded. The guard struck. What's the end of the endless? Back again. The angel asked before ALFAGIR understood the answer. Earn your rest. ALFAGIR didn't. Why won't this end? The guards fell back as the barbarian clawed himself off the floor, pulling one of them down into the melee. They screamed. Why? Silence this time, save for the sound of ALFAGIR's blade sliding across the bloodstone floor towards him. Why? ALFAGIR wrenched himself from the pile of corpses. His battle cry echoed through the empty marble halls as the archers loosed. Why me? Still not good enough, the angel said as ALFAGIR faded. Why? Why? The archers tried to retreat, but it only made the trail of blood longer. Let me go! Disappointed. Don't send me back!
How did he get this far?
The Emperor shouted.
Knights!
Let this be the last. The blade hit ALFAGIR's feet, but he didn't pick it up. Seconds ticked by. Minutes dragged. Hours threatened. The angel waited. ALFAGIR stared at the blade on the floor, at his dried blood scattered around the room. He knew he couldn't do it. He wasn't strong enough yet, but how was he supposed to go back time and time again when everyone he was fighting for was just on the other side of that gate? What did he need to do? The angel's blade rested against ALFAGIR's throat. ALFAGIR didn't move. Have you finished your work? What happens to you? The angel let the sentence die as ALFAGIR stirred. Good. You swore an oath. You will rest when they're gone. They took your family, your happiness, your love. ALFAGIR grabbed the blade. They left you one thing. Your rage. He raised it to strike the angel down, to earn his freedom. The two spoke in unison.
Why do you make me fight?
ALFAGIR peeled himself from the floor, skin stitching back together and a wild grin plastering itself across his face.
Someone has to.